Hi, everybody. Today we're going to look at KK.2, which is statistics, and it's in the statistics section of Algebra 1. We're going to look at the measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode, and the spread of the data or the range. To find the median, you need to have them listed in order from least to greatest. And a big mistake is to forget that the negatives value is smaller as the value goes up. So we have -9. Let me write them in order. It is very helpful to write them in order. You don't absolutely have to. You could probably figure it out without doing this, but it is helpful. One thing you'll notice is that I cross them out as I go. And the reason I do that is because it's really easy to miss one. You see how I missed a -8 there? I didn't cross it out. There it's gone. Okay, we've got, it looks like I've got all my negatives at this point, and now I have a 0, a 1. Oh, I got the -4. Yeah, I forgot to cross it out. And it looks like I have a 6 and a 9. And we're looking for the median. That's the number in the middle of the data set. And what's interesting about this data set is that they gave us 2 in the center. Notice that there is 4 this way, and there are 4 this way. And these 2 are in the center of my data set. I'm going to double check and count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whenever you have an even number in your data set, you're going to have 2 in the middle. The median is the number that is between -4 and -6, which happens to be -5. Formally, we would add them together and divide by 2. Just be careful. It's a real easy mistake to make when they're the same number. If they're the same number, it's just that number. A lot of people, if they see this, for example, if they saw a -4 in the middle, they would think it's -4.5. Don't ask me why, but it just happens a lot. In this case, the median is -5, which is our middle value in between the 2 that are in. Those even numbers make it difficult. Now, this time we're going to add them up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count up as I cross them out. Listen as I count. This is the way I like to add. 2, 5, 5, 6, 9, 12, 15, 23, 29, 30. Now, what I do a lot of times is I go ahead just to make sure I didn't make a mistake, and I count backwards. So I'm going to count again and see what I'm doing. I'm taking the 1 plus 6, which is 7, and as I go, I'm going to cross them out. So 1, 7, 15, 18, 21, 24, 25, and 30. Yep. And counting up is pretty quick. It's a pretty quick way of adding together a bunch of numbers. There's lots of other ways, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Most of us are familiar with adding up all the numbers and then dividing with the number that's there. In mathematics, we say that the mean, the average, that's another word for average. And you'll notice that I have a little bar above the X. That's talking about what's called the sample mean. We take the sum of all the X's. All that means is add them up. That's what it means when you see that symbol. I think it's sigma. And we're going to divide by n the number that we get when we count them. So there you go. It's not that scary. Our average apparently is 3. Now this time we want the range. The range is the largest number in the data set, and we're going to subtract the smallest. Now this is the smallest in value, and you need to be very careful in case it's a negative. The largest value in our data set looks like we have all negatives except for 0. So 0 is actually the largest. And the smallest, it looks like, is -9. I'm just going to mark them there. And I want you to notice that double negative gets people all the time. Your range will always be the positive difference. Between 0 and -9, there are 9 units. So it's a positive. All right, guessed a number, and these are the people who guessed. 5 people guessed 1, 2, 1 person guessed 2, and so on. We want the range of the numbers. Well, the range is the biggest minus the smallest, which of course is a range of 4. That's what it says. Between 1 and 5, there's a range of 4. All right, this time, this is the mode of the numbers. Now, this is a really easy one to make a mistake on. Notice that a lot of people are going to be attracted to this, and that is a mistake I made in the past. These are the number of science articles that each student read, and it looks like 3 different students read 10 articles. But take a look down here. We have 2 people who read 2 and 2 more people who read 2. So there are 4 students who read 2 articles. So the mode of the numbers is the number of articles is 2, because more people read 2 articles than any other number of articles. It's a real easy one to make a mistake instead of choosing the largest one. Okay, let's see. Reported on how many stop signs there are in each street. Okay. And what is the mode of the numbers? Again, we want the most popular number, which happens to be 9. 9 stop signs is the most popular number of signs on a given street. So we're talking about 9 for the mode. The mode of these numbers. Now this time we want the one that's the most popular, and there are 5 people who chose or who drew a number between 2 and 8. So 5 people drew a 6, only 4 people drew a 2. So the mode is 6 in this case. The range, again, we're going to look at a whole bunch of negative numbers. Remember that we're going to take the largest number, which I believe is the -15. We want the smaller negative, in other words. So -15 is our largest number, and we're going to subtract our smallest number, which looks like it's the -25. And if you think about it, the distance between -15 and -25 is 10. And -15, notice I had double negative there, is 10. So that is my spread. That's how far apart my data goes. All right, she counted the number of freeway exits before each rest stop. Took a road trip making 10 rest stops. What was the mean number of exits before each rest stop? We want the average. And do you notice that this looks a whole lot like 60? So I'm going to do a trick. Now you guys can certainly add them all together and divide by how many there are there. And that's perfectly acceptable method. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to guess that it's 60. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the average of the differences from 60. You're going to like this. It's a really cool method. So this 61 acts like a +1. 58 is a -2. 60 is 0, so it has no effect. And you could write it, but I'm not going to write it. -1, 60 is 0. 55 is -5, isn't it? 60 is 0, 60 is 0, 60 is 0, and 57 is -3. Now, what I'm doing is I'm adding all the differences from the average that I guessed. Now, if you add these together, you're going to see that those cancel out, and I have -10. And there are 10 rest stops. So we know that there's 10 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you divide this by 10, you get -1. So can you tell what the average really is? I guessed that it was 60, but when I checked all the differences, I got an average difference of -1, which means that it is 59. Now, those of you who want to try it, add all those numbers together, divide by 10, and what you'll find is that it's exactly 59. I think you'll like that method of differences. Now, this time we'll do it both ways. The problem with this one is that we have those negatives in there, so it's a little tougher to guess the average. Well, there's 6 values, but one thing that's nice is that we have some pairs here. Negative 32 and 34 is positive 2. Same thing for these two. And then I have 34 and 30, which is 64. So I get a total of 68 is my sum, isn't it? That's my total when I add all those together. Because when I add the negative 32 with the 34, I got 2. When I added the 34 with the negative 32, I got 2. And then the other two numbers give me 64. Now I have 6 numbers in all, so I'm going to divide by 6. And it says round it to the nearest tenth. So we have to change it to a decimal. 6 goes into 68. Hopefully you guys can do that. It's 11 with 2 left over, which is 11 1/3, or 11.33333333. I'm going to go ahead and do the division. We subtract the 6, and we have an 8, we have a 1. We subtract the 6. Be careful. A lot of people are just going to put the 2 there. You don't. You have to put a decimal and a 0, and 6 goes into 20 3 times, and you have a 2 left over, and dot, yada, 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 33333. When we round it, we get 11.3. Yes, you could use a calculator, and it would be faster, but I think it's really good to practice your basic arithmetic. I actually made 3 errors the last time I tried this, and they were all just basic addition errors. It's really easy to make a mistake. Range, we're looking for the biggest one, which is 24, and we're looking for the smallest one, which is 16. And 24, which is the largest, minus the smallest, 16, gives you 8, doesn't it? And it's a good idea to just double check. Between 16 and 24, there is a difference of 8. And those are the biggest and the smallest. Yes, they are. And that is the range. The mean is 20. Which number could C be? Now, in this particular case, I would add all the numbers together, which means that I'm going to add the C plus the 11, 27, 16, and 27. I'm actually adding all those numbers together. I'm going to go ahead and add them right here. That's going to give me 14, 15, 21, and that's 6, 7, 8. Looks like I get 81 here. And that is going to be the total number altogether. If the average is 20, think about what that means. If the average is 20 and I have 5 numbers, I divided by 5 to get that number, didn't I? In other words, I wrote the formula, which is add all the numbers together and divide by how many there are. Now I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. I multiply by 5 and I get 100. And I subtract the 81, which of course gives me the 19. I prefer the algebraic method. Now, what some people are going to do is they're just going to add it together with 4 and see if that gives them the right average. And then they'll find out it doesn't work, and then they'll try the 19. Or worse yet, they'll just simply choose it because the 4 didn't work. The median is 91. Now, this is a very different situation. You don't add them up. We need to put them in order. To find the median, you need to look at the values in order. So I'm going to look for the smallest one, which looks like it's 88, 89. And then it looks like I have a 92 of them. 90 and 90. And then I have a 91, 92, and 93. Now, here's the thing. We want 91 to be in the middle. Oh, wait, did I forget something? Did I lose a 93? Oh, I lost a 93. There we go. Now I can get 91 in the middle. Without that extra 93, I wouldn't be able to do it, would I? So obviously the number has to be on this side because this side has 4, 91's in the middle, and there has to be 4 on this other side. So we need another 93, don't we? So there it is. Hopefully that made sense to you. And it looks like we're looking for a range of 8. What number could H be? Now the range has to be 8. So from the largest to the smallest, 14 would be the same with the smallest number. So let's see if that works. Let's see if the 14 works. Let's just test it real quick. We want a range of 8. I can tell you already, look, 97 is way too big because 97 would be the biggest number. And when you subtracted the smallest number, 14, you would get 80 something, which certainly is not 8. But anyway, here it is. We've got 22 as our largest number. That's the largest in the set if the 14 is there. And we're subtracting the smallest, which is 14. And 22 minus 14 is 6. That's not 8. 22 minus 14. No, it's 8. Can't subtract. I'm telling you. Having a little trouble with arithmetic today. There it is. Yep, that's the range. Notice if I had put a 97, it would be here, and definitely it would not be 8. So there you go. All right, guys. Hopefully it isn't too long for you. This is good practice. Okay. The mean is 78. What number could y be? Okay, again, I am going to use the 78. It's going to be my guess of the mean. And sure enough, that's what I need. Now, I'm going to do the differences. You could add them all together and do it the way I did it before, which would be y plus the sum of all those numbers divided by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would be equal to 78. I'd have to multiply by 8 on both sides. 78 times 8 would give me the total, and then I would subtract the sum of all the numbers without the y, and I would get my answer. But watch what I'm going to do. 79 is a positive 1 compared to 78. 71 is a negative 7. 76 is a negative 2. 91 is pretty big, isn't it? It's going to be 13 larger. That's a positive 13. It's 13 above 78. 79 is positive 1. 73 is negative 5. And 75 is negative 3. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take negative 3, negative 2 is negative 5, negative 10, negative 17, and that's the sum of all my negatives. My positives give me positive 15, and I get negative 2 as my sum. Now, what that tells me is that the sum of these guys is negative 2, but I want it to be 0. So what I need to overcome that negative 2 is 2 more. I need a positive 2 to make it 0. So that means that I have to go 2 above my average, or 80, which will make the differences all 0 when I compare the differences with 78. It's a little tricky, but there it is. It is 80. I could have just estimated and said it was, the 104 was way too big, but I think it's good to look at those. Okay, what is the mean? In this particular case, just grab your calculator, add them all together, and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now, I could do the addition and do it by hand, but I'm not going to. And I'll let you guys go ahead and find your mean, follow the directions, and I hope I'll see you back again. I'm going to go ahead and stop at this point so I don't make it too long. And you all have a nice day. I will see you back. Bye-bye, everybody.